What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. Today, the stock market went down a little over 1,000 points. So it went up for 2,900 points or so the day before, and it dropped again today. So a lot of people are questioning why, and they're going to do their studies and try to figure out. But what I wanted to talk about today is understanding where we're at in this tariff war that Trump just threw on the whole world. And us Americans, he's holding us ransom with these games he's playing. We already know that factories are not coming back to America. Donald Trump and his sycophant leaders have been saying that at least 3 manufacturers that they know, but they didn't give you a name. You can go do the research yourself to find out which 3 manufacturers are saying they're going to come back to America. There is all kinds of information to say that there's certain ones that say they're going to stop building factories in Mexico, and they're tentatively going to build 1 or 2 here, right? But that depends on the tariffs if they stay on. We do understand. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? We do understand that logically it would take years for a manufacturer to build a factory in America. Years. But let's just give it to them that they're going to do it. Do you really believe that those factories are going to have a bunch of humans or a bunch of robots doing it? Of course, there will be mostly robots putting those things together. Now, some would say, well, some jobs are better than none at all. Well, you can say that. But until these tariffs change, they're going to take their butts right back where they came from. Donald Trump mentioned 3. Do you know in like Mexico, I think it's Mexico State or something like that in Mexico. I was looking up the stats. Over 350 manufacturers go there. 350. And Donald Trump's talking about 3. Does that make us a stronghold with that particular company bringing back maybe 1 vehicle that they're going to make here some 5 to 10 years from now, when Donald Trump is long gone, if he doesn't turn us into a dictatorship, and they know that these tariffs without him will change? So why am I going to make this billions of dollars of an investment when Orange Cretin is not going to be here for me to reap the rewards? In fact, I'm going to waste money because he's so fickle and changes with the wind. Yeah, no businessman or woman ever said I'm going to waste money except for Donald Trump. I mean, you really got to be out your gourd to think that a billionaire is going to bring back a factory here when he's making hand over fist there. Go look up what these manufacturers or these factories are like in Mexico. Please do. You'll see some old footage, rarely any new footage, but this footage you will see will probably be within the last decade or so. These people who work in these factories in Mexico are literally young kids. Not their parents, the young kids. And what do? They live at work in dorms. Yeah. Many of them don't know each other. Not the person in the bunk above or below them. They don't even talk to one another. They just come to work, do their thing, bounce. When I say bounce, back to their bedrooms. And you think Americans going to live like that? Or can we compete with that? It doesn't make any sense. We're not going to compete with our kids living at their job. That is not the American way. And if America goes back there, trust and believe there will be a revolt. there would be a lot of something lost. Lives, buildings, something. Nobody's being forced to have their child or an adult live at your job. So why are we even playing these games when you could just go look back and see the history of how these people in Mexico and other countries surpassed us in manufacturing, so to the point where the way they do stuff is quite slavish. And they know America will never go back there, not willingly. So what are they doing? They're trying to recruit your children. There's a reason these people do what they do. They are in certain states fighting to get 13 and 14-year-olds to be able to work overnight. Why would your child be working overnight at a factory? Are they trying to make your kids be able to work at the factory and say, you know what, Timmy wasn't that smart to begin with. You know, he ain't gonna graduate. But we got a job for him where he can start making money and paying the bills. So you might want to just, sign over your child to us, have him work at the factory overnight. I mean, why would a child be working overnight at a factory? A child, 14. You wouldn't let your 14-year-old just go hang out with his homies on the street at night, but you'll send them to a factory? Come on, man. They ain't talking about America. They're talking about a third world country, and we ain't going back there without kicking, fighting, screaming, biting, shanking. Ain't nobody taking us back that direction. And if you are, you batshit crazy if you're going to say yes to that. Because it won't be union wages. Not like your child going to be bringing home a couple $100,000 a year. Your kid's going to be bringing home $35 a month, and you're going to be sitting here like, wait a minute, this ain't paying for shit. Not even his health bills, because they're going to be sick as hell working all these hours for these people. That's what these people are talking about. Bringing back a factory that's not going to be union. Why do you think the jobs left this country? Because they was trying to get rid of the union. You telling me they're trying to bring the union back? Billionaires? Seriously? What they're worried about is that China and other countries have figured out financially how to win when America set them up on purpose to lose. They're like, wait a minute. We gave them this slave labor because we didn't think they could do anything with a couple $100, $100. They ain't going to be able to live off that. So we're going to always be ahead of them. We started out ahead of them, gave them crappy deals, thinking we are going to stay ahead of them and be lazy. They put the foot on the gas, created new shit, and then boom. They're superpowers economically. Not only that, they own hundreds of billions of dollars of our debt in bonds. They're playing chess. We're over here playing Candyland. We don't got fat off of this idea of everybody else works while all we do is buy. We become the consumer capital of the entire world. We buy more than any other country, and that's our power. We spend a lot. But what does that really mean if our dollar starts to decrease? What does that mean if our bonds become shaky? It means we've been unfucked ourselves. In a situation of bonds are nothing more than IOUs. Right? If I'm going to borrow, $100 from you, I'm telling you I'm going to pay you back with interest. I'm going to pay you $110 back. So a country would buy into our debt. They'll give us money. That's how we'll get money through the bonds. And because it's our government, America is like the trusted people around the world. We may be shady, but we're trusty with our dollar. So we're trusty. So they'll invest in these bonds and give us all these loans and things of that nature, and we pay it back with interest, and everybody's cool. But when the bonds start to shake a little bit, that's when people start saying, we don't trust America. They're kind of flaky. Their leaders tripping. They're doing all this crazy shit. You know what? I ain't loaning them no more money. I ain't getting into the bond thing. And if they want more money, I was charging them 10%, not even that. But let's say I was charging them 3% before. They want my money. They're gonna have to come up with 15%. And when that happens, America freaks the fuck out. What you mean? You can't give us no money? Because if one person starts doing it, that's a mega power. As far as economics, everybody else is going to follow. So when Trump saw what was going on, it wasn't China that did it. It was just the market itself started to realize there's something up with America. We don't know what's going on, and they're not letting us know. This is weird. Let's stop investing in them and call on some of the cash we're owed, because we don't know what's going to happen to this country. It's tripping. No stability. That's the reason why we are the superpower that we are, is everything's been stable. Donald Trump is throwing everything out of whack. And when you throw things out of whack, they're like, oh shit, let's start selling. So, what did we learn about what happened when Donald Trump flinched the other day and put tariffs, still high tariffs? Ladies and gentlemen, the tariffs on pretty much every country that we have dealt with, right? Those tariffs are usually 1 to 3%. To put 10%, it is 10 times as much for some countries. It is 3 times as much for other countries. That's still a volatile situation. Because before, it was just batshit crazy. To go from 1% to 34% or 49%, these numbers that they put on those charts were 100, not a little bit, 100% wrong. And we all know by now they were talking about tariffs with penguins. Batshit crazy. So what does it mean that China saw Donald Trump flinch when he found out that bond markets were starting to charge America more money to be borrowing from? If that's the case, that means the world is kind of shaky on us. Like, oh shit, I don't know about America. They don't have the steady hand like they used to. They're shaky. And when that happens, which relies on our stock market as well, because the bonds are like the what they say, like the I ain't gonna say that word, but they're the boss. They're the boss. They're what gives us stability, the trust in this country to not borrow, but to loan us money. And that can't, just a tiny bit is an earthquake of like 7.9, just a tiny shift. Because again, if one country starts to feel that way and starts dumping, the rest of them will start following, because nobody wants to lose their money. And what has China and a bunch of other countries been trying to do to us for a long time? I told you about BRICS. They want to take over the American dollar and make BRICS more powerful than the American dollar. So is this like an immediate way, a brilliant way to literally throw us off? And Donald Trump is just handing it to them? Hell yeah, it is. If they wanted to, strategically, they could fuck with America right this minute. Now, here's the problem though, to be honest, with bonds and things of this nature. No country wants to be, except for Trump, wants to be that country that appears to be retaliating through economics. No country wants to be seen to be done that. Trump is doing it to America. That's why we look bad. So no other country wants to ever do that, because again, it's a balance thing. It's a give and take thing. And America's looking like that. Like, who the hell are they? That ain't the same one. It's like we have, like multiple personalities. America was trusted, and now all of a sudden we acting like we're not America anymore because of Trump. And people are trying to figure it out. So what does that do? Have you noticed something about China? Have you noticed something about them since Trump's been doing this? Anybody? China has been quiet. The calm hand, the steady. They have looked like the grown-up in the room. They have sat back and chilled and said, reciprocate that. They said 100, we give them 84, 86. Oh, yeah, same thing. Oh, 145, Now they're getting crazy. We're not going to play their game. We're going to be the adults in the room. We'll figure something out. We're not worried. We're not shaking. Donald Trump is like, oh, they're calling me and kissing my ass and not calling me sir. That shit's not happening. They are trying to paint him as a strong man because in the real world, out of all the other countries, he showed his hand. And when you show your hand, you've weakened yourself. Have you not noticed his sycophants coming out talking about he did a great job and he's this, that, and the third. And yesterday when he went up to 2,900, whatever. See, I told you he had this in his plan the whole time. Sir, what happened today? Was this a part of his plan too, that it was going to rally one day and fall the next? Was that his plan? You notice they ain't saying nothing about his plan today. It was yesterday when it went up, which they saw a test run of that when that fake tweet came out and said that that's what Donald Trump was going to do. It's weird that that fake tweet and Donald Trump were the exact same. What's the arbitrary 90 days? Why 90 days? There is nothing in history that just says that, you know what, put it on pause for 90 days and see what happens. There's nothing like that. But that fake tweet came out and had a deal of 90 days and take the tariffs off, right? And basically, you know, keep a base tariff on everybody else, but take away the 90 days and figure it out. That was something that one of the major investors came out and said on Fox, that exact deal. And then somebody went out and actually said, hey, did a tweet, this is what Donald Trump has agreed to. Somehow, CNBC and Fox and everybody else did no homework and put that shit in the regular news, even though nobody of credit and nobody they called and said, hey, they didn't even have a source and they put it in their news. That's just terrible. They put it in their news, validated it, the numbers shot up in minutes, only to have the White House say, we never said that shit. And then it dropped again. But then when Donald Trump realizes the bond market shifted, oops, we fucking up, guys, pull up, pull up. Then he tells everybody, be cool. This would be a good time to buy. And 4 hours later, enough time for people to go out and buy, he lets off, takes the chokehold off of the economy and lets it start to breathe on its own and let the market do what it does. But see, he had a test run to see what it was going to do before. When they thought it was real and they snatched it back, they saw the jump and they saw it fall back. Now let's make it real to get Trump out of this fucked up position he put himself in, because the bond market is starting to have problems. Again, bond market just moves a little bit, it's a freaking earthquake. Because that means nobody wants to loan us any money. With our trillions of dollars of debt, we need to borrow money from other countries. And China owns several hundred billion, well over 700 billion of our debt they own. Okay, even though we got trillions, but they own 700 billion. Again, you don't have to own all of it, because all you can be is a major player, which China is, and just start to shift it a little bit, and the rest of the world will be like, holy shit, something's going on, and they'll start selling too. So a little trickle from one major person could just have the whole thing come crashing down. Now, like I said, no country wants to be the person who destroyed the entire world's economy, except Trump. So they're not going to do something like that. The way to win for China is to have a steady hand. Don't do anything. Let Trump fuck up his own country. Because now you see with China, Japan, right? South Korea, they're making deals with each other and they didn't like each other. So that tells you right now that they see a better or steadier hand with China than they see with America. Donald Trump being sporadic gives China credit. because you don't see them responding. You got to see what Donald Trump's minions are trying to do at the microphones to try and make it seem like China is the bad actor when China is being quiet and only reacting to Donald Trump's madness. Let's watch the video. You'll see what he has going on. And this will be Scott Bessent.
This was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along. And that, you might even say that he goaded China into a bad position. They responded. They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors, and we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners who did not retaliate. It wasn't a hard message. Don't retaliate. Things will turn out well.
So his brilliance is that we're going to fuck with the economy and you just take it. Don't man up. I mean, play bitch, play dead, and we won't do nothing. So your strategy was to mess with the economy, throw tariffs on people, and they weren't supposed to respond. They were supposed to just wait it out. What were they waiting for? Where was the strategy going to happen? You didn't have an ask. You just kept saying, they're robbing us, they're taking money, you got a deficit, and all this other stuff. If you don't know anything about trade, you don't have to be a genius to know, but if you don't know this, the simplicities of trade, you can have a deficit with a country, but still make more money from that country than they make from you. So a deficit isn't always bad. It just means what we have to offer them, they don't necessarily need any of it. But the deals that we do have from them, we make more money out of that deal. Meaning they send us a product for $3, we charge $300, we win. We win. They lose. That's how America set up the trade to begin with, is for all these countries to lose and for us to win and not have to pay union people 30 and 40, a living wage. We didn't have to pay them that. We took all of that $300 and put it into our pockets because all we had to do was send it over there. They do all the work and we sell it to America. Yeah, so we made us consumers only. They did that on purpose. And now you think the billionaires care about you, going to bring it back? No. They're starting to realize that these countries reinvented themselves. Instead of America winning and robbing them blind, they figured out a way to make it work for them by devaluing certain things in their communities, by turning their children into slave labor type of shit, by, creating factories and paying the government a lot and therefore making their country wealthier. They had to do a lot of trickery on their end to make the deal in which we gave them that was really fucking them over. They had to figure out a way to make that deal work for them. You didn't see them come back to America and cry and say, yo, this ain't working. We ain't making enough money. No. They say, you know what? We're making all this money from them. Let's go to another country. Let's go to another country. Let's go to another country. Let's build factory on top of factory on top of factory. Let's invest trillions of dollars into factories and try and invest in new technologies so that even if anybody else wants to take our industry, they're going to have to catch up to our technology. And they know no other country can do that just yet. And they took themselves light years ahead of everybody else, even us. That even if we wanted to bring back some of these factories, we still wouldn't be able to produce it as fast as they can, as many as they can, and for the price that they can. So they got an industry that they're whooping our ass on, that we gave to them and didn't care because our billionaires were so greedy that they handed them the keys to the wealth that they have today, not realizing they were shooting themselves in the foot because they saw Today we can make billions. They didn't think about the future. They were going to make trillions. They didn't see that. They saw the greed, not the advancement, right? So therefore we lost jobs, opportunities, everything because they decided to like just take the jobs away. You think they're going to bring them back? No. They keep telling y'all that shit because now they're trying to bring it back, and they know that while Mexico and these other countries with their factories, they got people working there. Technology. We got to build technology so that we don't need people. Will it be cheaper? Oh, hell yeah. It'd be cheaper. We don't have to feed them and put clothes. They don't have to take breaks. These things can freaking work all the time. So we can beat China by having China already got the computers ready. We light years behind. They already got the technology. Already got it. So if they're light years ahead of us, once we make that move, they'll just move to even faster. Think about it. And this is just the last example I'm going to give of it. We built ChatGPT, American people here in America. I'm pretty sure people from different cultures were a part of it. I know that for sure. But America's ChatGPT. Then they created DeepSeek in less time, made it faster, and it's always free. Well, I don't know if they're charging yet, but they said it's always free. In America, what's his name? Elon Musk was out there bragging about, we were light years ahead of everybody, blah, 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 blah. And while they're bragging and talking to their investors about how they're faster and way ahead of one dude, it ain't even China. One dude took on this, who's rich, and decided to create DeepSeek and took way less time. And boom, came up with a faster, better, cheaper system and showed it wasn't about making money. It was about showing their ass to the United States. Yeah, you guys created this. How many years did it take you? Decade, whatever. 6 months, whatever it was. I don't know exact dates, but it was way less. I'm like, so that was the big issue that got Elon Musk to shut his mouth about AI and ChatGPT when they saw DeepSeek whoop their ass in shorter time. You understand? Give China the amount of time it took the United States to build their DeepSeek, and it'll be light years. Right now, it's comparable to ChatGPT, and the production was much cheaper. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, not only was it that, United States, Elon, all them, the chips to make the API, the Chat GPT, the AI, and all these chips to make this, $40,000 a chip and things of that nature, they made it so that China couldn't get them. They couldn't buy them. They forced these people who make these chips to only sell to us and gave them, meaning other countries, cheaper chips, slower chips, so they couldn't catch up with us. That was the shocker when America realized, the tech people realized, they accomplished what we did with slower chips. Cheaper technology. But it's just as good, if not better, than ours. Yeah, that was the flex they did, China did, to America. And that's when you start hearing all these tech people kind of like shut up about ChatGPT being the best in the whatever. They just kept moving and they said nothing else about it. They was bragging about it. Now DeepSeek slapped them in the mouth and they sitting there just, swollen mouth like, oh shit. So that's one of the things that you start to realize. America put on the brakes, got rich off of just technology and services and things of that nature. The manufacturing thing, not so much. And China, Japan, other countries just skyrocketed with technology. Now, they were good with technology to begin with, but they perfected it way better than we did. So this guy was talking about Donald Trump. It was his plan the entire time to take us to hell and back. And that China showed its hand to be, that it was, the bad actor. And I'm like, China ain't said shit, ain't did shit. They just reacted to shit. This man literally said, if I punch you in the nose and you respond, you're the bad actor. Where does that logic come from? I'm sorry. You punch me in the nose, I'm hitting you in the throat. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, don't react. Don't react. Don't react. You're the bad actor if you react. I mean, this shit sounds batshit crazy. I mean, who's trying to, boy, tell me not to react after you don't hit me. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And it ain't even, I mean, even if it ain't hitting me, if somebody hits your child and somebody said, don't react, you can't react. Please. You throwing a brick at them. Ain't no way in hell you're going to let somebody hit your kids and then you're going to sit there and look at it, don't react. That's what they wanted. And that's what that dude said. Looking like a slow Jimmy Swaggart. Look like an old pastor back in the day singing hymns and shit. Reminds me of Jim Carrey when he played that pastor on In Living Color. That's who he reminds me of. The overbiting everything. I mean, it's comical to hear this dude, and he's supposed to be somebody big in the finance industry. But getting with Trump, the things that come out of his mouth, his education just gone. Just dumb. Just becomes super stupid. Don't react after we mess with you. Just sit back. For what? Are you doing this just for publicity? To make it look like you're strong? And they were just supposed to sit there and take it so the world can see that you're powerful? I mean, what sense does it make to hit me and tell me not to react and everything will be okay? See, what it appears to be is that China was the main group that they wanted to go after. So they threw tariffs on everybody. And it will end if China doesn't move. Because you got to understand, the EU moved. But after they seen what he did, took the tariffs off, the 10%, things like that, they backed off. Right? Mexico and Canada moved. So he didn't mention any of them. Matter of fact, they didn't get any additional tariffs. They got back down on too. So you would automatically know that this was all pushed toward China. And as it grew and grew and grew and China kept fighting back, they wanted to blame China for all of their problems that Donald Trump just created out of thin air. Let me fuck with everybody's life and say it's China's fault. And if they don't capitulate, I'm going to keep fucking with your life. It's their fault. What? Who makes sense out of that? I mean, it's a bunch of grown-ass men and women listening to the words that are coming out of these fools' mouths and justifying the idiocy. It's no logic. None. So when you really dig into the recesses of everything they're saying, when you dig into that, you'll start to realize that China's winning. When you negotiate things, the one who talks the most is the one that's losing. The one that is sitting back, staring you down, listening to you get in front of a camera, talk all this stuff, people kissing your ass, I'm the greatest, I'm this, I'm that. They're over there like, let the dude speak. He's obviously his mom didn't hug him and he needed to get on the teat and she decided to put him on Similac, but just let him keep speaking. Oh, he said something else in the news? Oh, no shit, no joke. Oh, he's talking about more tariffs? Okay, put more tariffs back on him. They aren't saying shit. They're just acting. Trump is yap, 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 throw tariffs. Yap, 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 I'm strong, throw tariffs. Yap, 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 I'm strong. No, the dude that's talking the absolute most in a negotiation is the one that's losing, not winning. But see, they have to paint him as a winner. So you got all these mouthpieces coming out. Oh, we're doing great. We're doing great. We're doing great. We got 70 countries. We got 75. First it was 50. We got 50. Oh yeah. We got well over 50. Okay. Next day. Oh, we got 70. We got what? I think it's more. I think it's 75. Oh, could be 90. What? How the fuck are you coming up with numbers? How don't you know definites? If I got $50 in my pocket, I'm not going to sit there and say it may be 55. It may be 60. It could have been 70. 70 plus, maybe 75. Open your pocket, fool. What you got? 50, 60, 75, 90? Show it or shut the fuck up. This man never shows anything, just moves his lips. 70. His people said 70, and he goes 75, maybe even more. I'm like, you just got 5 more within the last 5 minutes because your boy was out there just speaking. He said 70. You said 75 or more, which means there's at least 5 more than what he just said. I mean, they really take us for Boo Boo the Fool up in here. You just said 50 a couple days ago. That shit went to 70. Oh, you're going to talk to 20 people in a couple days. Wow, that's crazy. Not that it ain't possible, but it's quite crazy. And then you go up. And then when you read it, it says these countries have spoken to representatives. They haven't spoken to Trump. And then you hear this representative, Scott Bessent, said Trump wants to be a part of all of them. Well, if he wants to be a part of all of them, that literally means he's had no conversations with any of them. Because it says none of them have spoken to him, just to his representatives. So if they only spoke to you, then they haven't spoken to Trump. Then it don't even matter. They haven't spoke to Trump. Yet he says we've spoken to 70 plus. These people can't tell the truth for nothing. And what gets me is this mainstream media stuff. When they sit there and ask him questions, they don't ask the very simple questions. Excuse me. Can we get a list, of the 70 plus countries that you're making? We don't need to know what deals you have with them. Just give us the list of the people that you've spoken to. Right? I mean, why aren't they out there, the news media, mainstream media, asking for a FOIA? All government business is the Freedom of Information Act. You don't get to hear the exact words, but you can get the transcripts redacted with anything that's not, that we don't need to know they haven't said in the news. So none of these mainstream media people are asking for the FOIA. Say, hey, who are these 90 or 70 that you've spoken to? No, they let this man flip out with words and adjectives and add shit and subtract shit and add numbers together that don't make sense and put places where there's penguins, and all they do is just ask him about it. Well, they didn't even ask him about it. They asked his sidekicks. This doesn't make sense, but when you're in front of him, they don't even ask him. I'm waiting for that person in these little press conferences where he's sitting there speaking in Donald Trump. I'm waiting for one of them to say, Donald Trump, can you give us a list of the 75 people that you're negotiating with? We don't need exactly what you're negotiating. That's your own, what you're dealing with. When you figure that out, we can get that via FOIA. But can we at least know the actual countries? You know why? Because it's too easy to find out this fool is lying. Call the country. More than likely, anybody in the country is going to be saying, like, we ain't had no conversation with that fool. Kiss his ass? We ain't never kissed his ass. What are you talking about? We don't even call him sir. We call him Mr. President. That's what we do. Sir would be like a young kid saying something to an adult. That's not how we speak. But they don't want you to know that truth. And the mainstream media don't want to go into the deep recesses of all this bullshit. They literally live on the outskirts and say, it may be true, it may not. No, find out. Don't tell us maybe so, maybe no. If you haven't learned, Americans want the truth. Maybe you'll get some of your followers back, your viewers back, if you actually went into the deep recesses of the facts instead of just taking what they say verbatim and then repeating it. You know how many people say, there's 70 countries, there's 75 countries, there's this and the third. None of them questioning if these damn countries are even real. With Mr. Liar in Chief. It's insane. Now, in order to understand how China has our number, I wrote a speech. I'm gonna make it into an article later that I'm gonna read to you guys and kind of like cover a better understanding of how Donald Trump is losing this battle. Nowhere near winning it. And the thing is, I don't like what he's doing, but he had a chance to win it and totally lost it. Because again, the steady hand is the one that wins, or at least appears to be winning. Donald Trump's hand is shaky. And I call this article I wrote, it's called The Art of Losing Leverage, How Trump's Panic Gave China the Upper Hand. And I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to discuss certain parts of it, because there's actually steps in here in which it shows how we're losing this particular battle. All right. So the art of losing leverage. I want to see if I'm too loud. How Trump's panic gave China the upper hand. My fellow thinkers, truth seekers, and everyday Americans, there are moments in history when a nation doesn't lose by force, but by flinching at its own reflection, by launching a war it didn't understand, and then panicking when the battlefield began to tilt. What we're witnessing right now isn't just a tariff war. It's a test of strategic patience, global perception, and economic maturity. And sadly, we're failing. Donald Trump, with his usual bravado, stepped into this economic arena swinging tariffs like hammers. 25% on Mexico, Canada, Asia, Europe, throwing punches at allies and adversaries alike without a clear strategy, without a coalition, and without a care for consequences. He claimed he had all the leverage. But then something happened. The bond market, a silent but all-seeing judge, started shaking. Interest rates inched up. Investors got spooked, and Trump blinked. He flinched. Not because China retaliated, not because the people rose up, but because the invisible hand of the market tapped him on the shoulder and whispered, "You're not in control." And that's when China saw it. They didn't need to fire a shot. They just waited. They just needed to wait and watch. Let me walk you through 5 steps that China can now take to flip this entire economic war into their victory without ever appearing to be the aggressor. Step 1, reframe this argument as risk management. China doesn't need to retaliate with rage. They only need to say, "We are concerned about America's instability. As responsible investors, we're diversifying to protect our global financial system." They can sell U.S. debt slowly, whisper caution to global markets, and do it all while looking like the mature adult in the room. No war, just wisdom. And every small cell will rattle our bond market further, because now the world has seen how fragile our confidence is. Trump flinched once. They know he'll flinch again. That's step 1. Step 2, build a global sympathy coalition. China can now go to the EU, Brazil, Africa, Southeast Asia, and say this: if the U.S. only had an issue with us, which it appears to be, seeing as how we got this 145% tariff, and everybody else was kind of like left alone to some degree, 10%, which in fact is way more than what you had before, but they're focusing on us. Why did they destabilize the entire global economy? That puts question as to America via Trump's actual understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, right? China will paint Trump as the economic bully, the loose cannon, who attack friends and foes alike. They'll turn American unpredictability into global uncertainty and offer themselves as the voice of stability. This isn't war. This is reputation jujitsu. Step 3. Make subtle moves that cause major reactions. Instead of a dramatic bond sell-off, China can make micro moves, skip a treasury auction here, shift reserves there, but these whispers will be loud enough for Wall Street to hear. Because now the world knows if China even appears to be losing confidence in us, the United States, our markets tremble. And that knowledge alone is power. Power they didn't have to steal. Donald Trump, via America, handed it right to them. Nothing they had to work for. Like I told you, China has been quiet. It has been us who have been boisterous and the bully, while China just sat back and allowed America to look bad. Well, Trump did it by himself, but trying to push it on China, that's insane. Step 4. Use Trump's own words as justification every time Trump says something reckless about defaulting on debt or punishing allies or weaponizing the dollar. China doesn't need to argue. See, they've been quiet. They just need to quote him. To these other countries whom we call allies, we've been messing over, and other countries that's always hated us and been waiting for our fall, all they have to say to them is that we are merely responding to a volatile American president that has made the financial system a weapon of intimidation. Which one of these countries would not believe that? We're on the news every day, being exactly what I just said. And with that, China walks into the room with a white glove and says, we don't want to do this. Meaning sell off the bonds and have our bonds go crashing. And people asking, and when we ask for money, we're going to have to pay astronomical interest, which devalues our dollar and kind of destroys our markets. But I digress. China could literally do that to us and say, we don't want to do this, but how can we not? They just laid out that they tried, and it's always been America that hasn't been willing to come to the table. So we have to protect our investments. Not retaliate, but protect our investments, which is something that other countries would not punish them for. Step 5, offer the off-ramp on China's terms. Finally, as panic builds, they can extend a diplomatic hand to America. Say, we are open to buying U.S. bonds again. We are open to stabilizing markets, but we must first see responsible behavior from Washington. Translation: submit to us, negotiate with us, and back the fuck down. And after flinching once, Trump just might do it again. Because after all, he said the bond market is the reason why he took the tariffs off. That was his tell. This is how America is losing a war we never needed to start. Not through tanks or missiles, but through ego, isolationism, and the illusion of dominance. We didn't unite our allies. We didn't define our goals. Why they're doing this? And now we're staring down a nation that's playing a much longer, quieter, and more strategic game. Trump may have thought tariffs were leverage, but leverage, my friends, isn't about force. It's about pressure without movement. And right now, China holds the pressure, and we're the ones moving. We can still fix this stuff. But only if we start acting like a grown-up in the room again, with clear goals, honest diplomacy, and respect for the system we built. Yes, this system is what we built that Donald Trump is destroying. Because if we don't, we just won't lose this battle. We'll lose the trust of the world, not just China. And once that's gone, there's no amount of tariffs that will ever buy it back. I'm done. So that is the speech I wrote for y'all to help you kind of understand how China has the upper hand now because Donald Trump flinched. See, Donald Trump didn't have a plan, no strategy, no structure. And so he played himself by taking it to this level and then watching the bond market move. Now, that wasn't China's fault that the bond market moved. But here's the reality. Now that they know that, that is a weapon they can use now. And now that Donald Trump has shown himself to be a tyrant and to mess with every country and not just the one he wants to deal with, all China has to do is say, look, we want to work with America, but America's always playing these games. Look what they did to y'all. They want to work with us. We're the number one manufacturer. They want to deal with us. And for some reason, they're having issues with all of y'all. Let's all connect and talk and discuss what we can do with America. We would love to invest in each one of you countries, China could say. We got millions and hundreds of millions and billions for you. Come to a reliable government. Come to a steady hand. America doesn't know what it's doing. They rehired a criminal that's causing hell for all of us. America's no longer steady. And when that happens, Donald Trump has effectively disconnected us to the entire world. See, these men, mostly white men who aren't educated around Donald Trump, and the ones who are lending themselves and allowing themselves to be ruled by an idiot against their better judgment, are setting America up to fail 100%. If I, a person who's not an economist, but a person who's like a master researcher, can come up with a strategy of playing chess on how we can get back into the game or realize how we've already lost, how is it that they can't figure that out? How is it that they can't figure out that they just lost? And the thing I believe is that they do realize it. That's why they're sending out all of these sycophants to say, Donald Trump has a strong hand. Donald Trump did this and Donald Trump. We would all see it. We don't need you saying it. But that's the thing. Donald Trump looked small. He looked like he flinched and lost. Every article that you read, not unless you were on Fox, literally said he flinched, he looked weak, he did all that. China just sat back. Have you heard them write about China today? I haven't seen one thing about China today. They received 145 because it was 125 and went to bed last night. Woke up, oh my bad, it's 145. Has China responded that we know of? The steady hand hasn't said shit. That steady hand has sat there and chilled. We look like the spastic people. Just freaking out and said, tariff on you and tariff on you. And the thing that kills me is that the guy you just saw, Scott Bessent, he said, this is the crazy part. In his spiel to the media, to us, he literally said that they were going to but they were going to have bespoke deals for each country. Now, for those who don't know what bespoke, it's just like bespoke clothes, bespoke this. It is catered to you, specifically designed for you. So China's going to have its own bespoke, you know what I mean? Japan's going to have its own bespoke deal. None of these are going to be the same deal across the board. That's the fair way to do it. So ask yourself the question. The country that says that each one of these countries is going to have a bespoke deal, nobody's deal is going to be the same, why do they throw the exact same tariffs on everybody? Across the board, 10%. I'm having bespoke. You promised me a bespoke deal, but you threw 10% on all of us. That's not bespoke. And why would I trust you when you didn't do bespoke to begin with? Why don't you go through each one of these deals and say, oh, you're paying 1%. Okay, you got to pay 3%. Oh, you're doing 3%? Oh, we're going to move you to 5. But to throw all of them at the 10, they got to be like, these people got to be batshit crazy. We can't do that. But you know who can get in there and say, they're batshit crazy, aren't they? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what? We're going to buy your products. How much they charge you, America? Oh, 1% or whatever it is, 3%. That's normal. I say, yeah. I said, oh, we'll do it for 0.5%. Oh, really? 0.5%? Okay, cool. But wait a minute. We're not going to do it in American dollars. You're going to have to do it in bricks. This is China's golden moment to steal the dollar, to make the dollar worthless. It's their golden time. It probably won't happen again for decades because we ain't going to have, praise God, we ain't going to have another idiot like this in office. I hope to God not. This is their perfect time to take over the dollar with an idiot like him in place. Do you understand that China and Russia had a long conversation? So if China and Russia are together, trust me, and they're working together, they definitely are trying to fuck over America. 100%. And Trump is all up in the crack of Putin's nether regions. He don't even see that the people he's kissing ass to are trying to take him out politically. It's insane that this man is literally a president. I wouldn't make him a kindergarten teacher because they have formidable minds that they have to mold, and this dude's mind is just gone. I just don't understand how he and the people around him don't see how they just lost and how China is just sitting back and laughing, strategically playing him, and they don't have to say a word. They just got to let him talk. He's burying America every time he opens his freaking mouth. He's weak. We always knew he was weak. You couldn't say nothing about Trump. Trump just signed an executive order to go after 2 American men because they didn't believe that the last election was rigged. He thinks one of them committed treason for literally letting people know that this fool was about to pull some stuff off that was illegal, and he didn't want it to happen to America. He's a patriot. And the other guy, all he said was on news, this was the most fair election we ever had. And we need to investigate him, right? What upside down world we in that you go out and tell the truth and you got a president out here trying his damnedest to put you in Leavenworth for being a truth sayer, a fact seeker. It's an upside down world, y'all. But you see that I wrote that. I'm gonna put it on my page later. I did it as well individually. That speech to be able to give people a better understanding of how we're losing, and we can't win until we somehow get our House and our Senate back and be able to hold this man accountable for the idiocy and take back the power of these. He should not be able to throw these tariffs on. This dude tried to proclaim wartime situations. We ain't in war with nobody. And everything he's doing requires us to be at war. Getting rid of these people and sending them to other countries requires us to be at war. For him to be doing and throwing on tariffs unilaterally without even dealing with the House and the Senate, who has the purse, one has the purse and the other makes the decision as well, the House and the Senate, then he comes, they're equal parts of the law. And they're being left out because Americans allowed Republicans to be in the House and the Senate in power. So they're letting the president do whatever the hell he wants. When we are able to vote, we need to vote their asses out. House and the Senate needs to be gone from them, and therefore we can bring our country back from the recesses of hell, because this dude is destroying it. If we even last that long. Because I understand by history, this man is trying to take us to a dictatorship. And these Republicans are allowing it to happen. That's just facts. You go ahead and listen and see what you guys got to say. Thank you, KB, gifting a membership. Oh, he was gifted a membership. Oh, okay. Thank you, Just Saying, for gifting memberships. Appreciate you. Hey, Vera, how you doing? That was former VP Kamala said during the debate that Putin would take advantage of him. Yeah, she did. And exactly that's what happened. Took advantage of him. It's insane. It really is. And we're just sitting there, just allowing it to happen. I know, enough Democrats did not come out and vote for the House and Senate to put people in that could save us from this nonsense. They didn't believe it, but now they do. It's too late. Say, he said, Trump's mind is stuck in kindergarten, 1800s Germany. Yeah, for real. Don't leave out North Korea. No, China is North Korea and Japan, right? They came with the deal. Not North Korea, South Korea. It wasn't North Korea, it was South Korea. It's South Korea that did it. I don't know about North Korea. You're talking about as far as like them having meetings together. Yeah, you're right. China, North Korea, and Russia. Mm-hmm. Siren says China's ready for it. They have been. The only deals he is making are personal deals, enriching himself. Correct, Just Saying. Hey, Monica, how you doing? Good to see you. Who else was in here? Oh, thank you. I appreciate the gift. Say that real quick. Basically tell Trump with the poker face, we have the power, so fuck off, and now I will take your bonds and not buy more and turn it to gold. Exactly. But see, the thing is that, like I said, the structure of how the world works, right? Because we have some unwritten, a lot of written agreements on what we will and won't do to each other, right? So China would not just sell our bonds and then just leave us, willy-nilly and have us destroyed, because the rest of the world would see that and say, oh, China would do that to us too, so they wouldn't be trustworthy. It'd be easy for America to say, see how I told you, here they are. So China's way of being able to do this, it would be smart and strategic, and it would look as though they didn't mean to do it, and that America did it to itself. So all they really have to do is allow Trump to keep sinking us and effing with everybody else, and then come to everybody else with your own silent meetings. You ain't got to tell America you're having meetings. China's having meetings with South Africa or what other country. You ain't got to tell them. You just go and have those meetings. And you go have those meetings as a person from China, the leaders from China, and say, we want to make a deal with America, but we got to wait for them to act right. Look at how they're acting. They threw all these tariffs on us. We can handle it. We're big. We're number one in manufacturing, but you're number 4. They're putting these tariffs on you too, and I know that hurts. So, it's America. Once America actually stops doing these things, then we'll help out and everything like that. But until then, how can we invest in you? How can we help you out? And they do that to these other countries. And when they say that, because they've already been doing this for years, and when they help these other countries, they won't do it in American dollar. They'll only do it in bricks and say, hey, if you do, you got to change over to bricks instead of American dollar. And if Americans keep fucking around, there's opening doors for them to do that to more and more countries. Ones that don't like us, but have catered to us because of the fact that they just had to because the dollar's so strong. But if the bond market goes down, the dollar weakens, therefore giving BRICS an opportunity to take over. And all they got to do is go buy the influence. It's strategic. And America should know that these are things that these countries have been working on for decades. It's not new. They've been trying to find a way to get in. And Donald Trump is opening that door wide the hell open. It's whether China wants to do it or not. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Five Alarm Fire. I appreciate the gift. Trump just made China a powerhouse for new trade deals with allies we used to have. America is totally unreliable to the rest of the world. 1,000%, Five Alarm Fire. 1,000%. China is the steady hand. We are the ones who look like we don't know what the hell we're doing. And this is all a culmination of people not being qualified. They've been talking about, Trump's people have been talking about, merit. The people in office don't have the merit, yo. They don't understand these things. Again, it's scary how we got people in power that may know finance and things of that nature, but they don't know how the world works. They think it's a business. It's not a business. And treat it like a business ends up throwing a lot of things out of whack, because countries have agreements. Not every country do we have tariffs, so to speak, with. There's only like 20 countries that we really have tariff agreements that we've signed. Other stuff is kind of like not full on like agreements, but or documents. It's not a FTA, a Federal Trade Agreement. It is literally like things that we say we're going to do, right? With different territories and things of that nature. So it's all misunderstood. This entire thing is misunderstood. And they know none of us, or at least most of us, would never do the research, never search the facts. We'll just listen to whomever our favorite anchors are, or whatever it may be. And those people never tell you to go do your homework. They'll never tell you to do that. They'll just tell you their little story and keep it pushing. You can't keep doing that. We can't keep doing that. We really, no matter what, like I said, whatever I say, please research it. You're going to find out way more information than I gave you. You're going to find out things that I missed. You're going to become more educated about the situation, and I implore you to do so, because the more you know, the better decisions you're going to make. If you say you're really for the people, learn how this country treats the people. Learn the strategies in which they use to make it look like things are for you when they're really against you. This trade stuff is against the American people. It's not for you. It's against you. Learn about NAFTA. Then learn about USMCA. I truly believe when you see Donald Trump, when he first was on, I don't know, the White House lawn somewhere, he came out and he said, we got the, he didn't say the exact words, but he's like, we got the NAFTA, I said it was bad, and now we got this beautiful, new plan called the USMCA. It sounds wonderful, sounds great. Now the rest of the world is going to be saying USMCA forever. It got a nice ring to it, USMCA. This fool, remember on the campaign trail when he was running, what song did he play? What song did he play a lot? And he be dancing to and shit. What did he do? What was that? YMCA. USMCA. This fool came up with a name just based off a song he likes. Got a nice ring to it. Just sad. It's just sad. That's what it is. USMCA. He loves that song YMCA. Gets him dancing. Gets the fist pumping, the blood pumping. This dude is slow. He's fucking remedial. And we're sitting here putting him in a power position. And he's hiring a bunch of sycophant idiots that don't know what they're doing. And our country is in trouble because of it. And we got these sycophants who know better, knowing he's messing with our economy. Our economy went down again today. People thought that it was over. I bet you Donald Trump thought once he threw these tariffs off, it's going to keep shooting up and he was going to have the highest number today. No, it went back down. Why? Because every country still has high tariffs. Anywhere between 3 to 9 times more than what they had before. And then China, hello. China is the number one, okay? That's the big dog. You got 140-something%, 145% tariffs on China. Every country has a deal with China. That's why they're the biggest. So that means everything they buy from China is going to be high. Who are they going to buy it from? America? They're trying to figure it all out. And because Donald Trump is so flaky, you can't figure it out. So you're not going to invest money that you don't know whether this is going to go good or bad. Everything in life. If you were going to give a friend, if you had two friends that, asked you to borrow money, and you got one friend that, pays you back every time, pays you back, may not pay you back immediately, but pays you back, has a scheduled plan. I'm going to give you $50 a week every paycheck till I pay you off. And then I'm going to have a balloon payment. That person. And then you got somebody else who never pays you back or is very flaky. Pay you back once out of 5. Who the hell are you loaning money to? The one that's itemized, that's going to pay you back even if it's $10. I know I'm getting my money back. This dude, he ain't giving you shit. 1 out of 5 times you'll get it back. Ain't no way in hell you going with this dude. That's America. 1 out of 5. This dude's always flipping around. Tomorrow gonna be another day. Next day he got some other idea. Next day he got some other thing. The next day he's got something else. Who in the hell wants to invest or hang with that dude or that girl that every 35 seconds got at a different thing that they want to do? And they ain't talking about like starting a business or doing things like that. That's understandable. If you got the money, start 1,000 businesses. It's all good. I'm talking about you asking people for money. I want $500. Then the next day, I want $5,000. Next day, I want $25. What the fuck you want? He don't know what he wants. He hasn't given everybody a plan, a structure, or nothing. These countries can't negotiate because they don't know what to negotiate with. When a negotiation, you need to know what one person wants and what the other person is actually capable of giving. You can't go to a country that's been giving you 1% or having a 1% tariff, and it's such a small country that they really can't afford anything from us because of the fact that anything that we build is going to be kind of high in cost. So they may be able to buy vegetables from us or fruit or soy, which is cheaper than something that's crazy, that we have. And we can say, okay, we'll buy beef from you. But when we don't even have like a major tech company here, and we don't need these services that you have. Most of us don't have phones in some of these small remote areas. Why do we need that again? That's the point. Each country is so different that throwing tariffs on all of them is just insane. And when they don't know when these going to come off and go on and come off and go on, the unsteadiness has them seeking stability. And if China just steps in and says, hey, I'm stable, what you need? While they going through all this crazy stuff, we got you, what you need? Oh, we need to do this, we need to invest in that, we need to invest in this. Okay, we got you. How much is that? Oh, about 300 million. All right, we got 300 million. And we want to buy about $5 billion of your debt. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep giving y'all loans until y'all can get it together. But it's going to have to be in bricks. Get back to me. And America keep acting a fool, don't do nothing, gonna do something, maybe not, maybe not, tomorrow, next day, something different. They're gonna look for the steady hand and be like, I'll go ahead and go with China because America's tripping. That has been the problem and will continue to be the problem with something like Trump in office. That's just the way it is. And it only makes sense. Would you want to deal with somebody in business that flip like that every day? They told you tomorrow, hey, we got a deal. We're going to start this project, anything like that. I'm investing $15,000. You invest in $15,000. We can get this thing going. Then you come that day to start doing what you're doing. You got your 15 grand and my man sitting on 5. But where your other 10? Oh, I'll get it. No. I'll put up 5 then. No, we need 20. I'm like, nah, I ain't bringing 15, you bring 5. Not unless I own 75% of the company. No, then I'm out. I'm out. I don't care if this is a gazillion-dollar deal. I'm out. I ain't giving 15,000 and you give 5 and you have 50% of the business. That just ain't gonna work. That's what Donald Trump is doing to these countries. Telling them to do business with us, you're gonna have to suck it up. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. China might want to step in there and be the level hand. And not to say China good or bad as far as the people, I don't know. The government, we don't say so many negative things about them. I don't know them personally. But they could at any given time step in and be the steady hand for these other countries and easily push us out of the powerhouse that we've been for decades upon decades, which hurts us because that means our dollar goes barely nowhere. You know, what we used to be able to buy here for, let's say, a Coke or whatever, Coke, it may be $3 or something here. Going there, a Coke may be $12 because our dollar is trash around the world. And that's because of our own doing. A big portion of American voters put Sir Dipshit in office. And not only that, gave him every power in the world to do whatever the hell he wanted to do by giving him the House and the Senate. And now we're seeing the repercussions of all that. And you've been seeing these Republicans, oh, I'm not going to vote for him again. You can't vote for him again. It's just insane. But how they switch, though. They'll be like, one day, no, I wouldn't vote for him because, man, that's just crazy. Then the next day, you know, he's trying. Then the next day after that, yeah, I vote for him. I'm like, how did you go from not voting for him to having some sympathy for him fucking up and then to have his back, even though you know it's not going to benefit you? I mean, earthquake, distrust, give it a couple of days, they're back on the train again. It's almost as if they're on some kind of expensive drug. They're just highly addictive. They keep going back to it. It's quite scary because you can't tell me that your life got messed up by one man. It wasn't the economy that did what it did. It was one man that played and toyed with our country. And the markets just flipped out. Our economy, when Joe Biden left, was on the uphill. It was uphill, though. Uphill. Our interest rates were going down. And even though since he came in, the interest rates still have gone down to some degree. But I don't think it's caught up to this crap that he's been doing. We won't see for another month or two what's going to happen to all this stuff he just started doing since he was in office. I'm happy that people got some of their money back because you don't deserve it. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in this world with Donald Trump being the president. It has literally been 90 days or so, if that. A little bit less than 90 days. And look what we've been through. The American people have been through hell in 3 months. I promise you, if anybody cares about America, you have probably aged a couple years in 3 months. Because every day there's something. Every day there's something. So many things that you can only cover like one in depth. Because there's just too many other crap things going on. One person, the young man who was snatched up from his home, has a family and all stuff like that. The Supreme Court finally said, you have to bring him back. Now they're debating on how to bring him back, if they're going to bring him back and all this stuff. I'm like, yo, what do we have laws for if you don't follow them? The laws and the government are turning out to be not the way Americans thought they were. There's too many damn loopholes for people. When we get somebody in office again that has some sense, we got to close some of these loopholes. Because them just getting out of shit every time and not doing it because they don't want to do it, that ain't the way the government or law is supposed to work. Period. Just Saying is gone. Good night, Just Saying. Thank you for stopping by. Did I see? I didn't see where she said she was saying, I'm going to bed now. Good night. Till next time, take care, stay safe, and stay strong. You too, Just Saying. Be safe. Have a good one. Silent Siren says she hate MTG. Yeah, MTG made a mint off of what happened. I would love to find out what other people are making. Or have made off of this increase. What's Save Wit talking about? You're reviewing plans for your next mobile and ISP. Prices have gone up, speeds are going down, and I've yet to see one company that doesn't throttle your speed after 50 gigabytes a month. That's what all of them do, man. I haven't seen one actually for years that's went over 50 gig. Not unless you probably bought an extra. Because mine just came with it, 50 gig. The plan I came with. I didn't increase it. It's unlimited everything, so. But that's all I've seen is 50 gig. Maybe you could buy more. Because I get it like sometimes, man, I get it like 5 days into the month. I'll get a notice. You're at 48 gig. I'm like, dang. I said, what did I do? And then like an hour or two later, you pass 50 gig. It's going to be slow in certain areas. I'm like, whatever, bro. What's up, Troy Scott? What's happening? Let me see what anybody else is saying before we end up getting out of here. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. You know how to support the show. Many of you are already subscribers and members. Make sure I got that set up. There you go. These are the ways to support. Let's see who else we got. Troy Scott said to KB, hopefully next general election they will do primaries to flush out the best candidates. Yeah, we need to really look and find the best candidates. What does KB, what she say? I'm worried that it takes several presidents to gain trust again if we even have fair elections from now on. That's a big worry. You know what's so tripped with me as far as like the next elections that come? I don't know. And this isn't to disrespect any party or anything like that. I just don't know who to trust. I just don't. I don't know, who to trust. It seems like so many of them blow smoke up your ass, and then next thing you know, it's not real. Now, also looking at the fact that what are people considering as liberal? You know what I'm saying? People demonize liberals. Thank you, Dave Bickett. Laws are for the commoners. Rich folks can afford their own justice or lack thereof. True. But I look at it, I was like, what is it? I don't know about these leaders. Silent Siren. Bernie and AOC. Yeah, I like them. Don't get me wrong. I like them. And I really want to reach out to Bernie. Because I want to ask him some questions. I got some solutions I would love to talk to him about. Personally, if I could ever, reach out to him. Because I just saw him, a clip. I didn't see the show. Him on CNN. I think it was last night. I was watching it after it was over. They had a full thing on YouTube. Or they had a few clips that they didn't have the full one. And it seemed like, I don't know what happened, but it seemed like in the town hall they had, it seemed like the person speaking, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, gray haired, his mom was a star. I don't know why I can't remember because I stopped watching CNN. But Bernie seemed pissed off at him. He wouldn't look him in the eye, yo. I was like, what? What did he say? What did he do? Bernie would not look him in the eye. This is the first time I've seen Bernie look ornery. I mean, Bernie was looking at him like he stank, man. I was like, what? What'd he say? Because then he started saying they won't talk about this. CNN won't talk about these things about the people. And I'm not gonna lie, I love Bernie. Anderson Cooper, thank you, Five on Fire. Anderson Cooper. But y'all saw it then. Didn't he look like he was pissed at him? I'm like, what did Anderson Cooper do? I was like, damn, he wouldn't look Anderson Cooper in the eye, yo. He was like this, looking at the audience. Andrew would say something, said they won't talk about this. CNN won't talk about this. He would never look over there. And then Anderson Cooper said, we're talking about it now because I'm forcing you to. I was like, well, damn. Well, damn. Oh, shit. I did not see it coming. I've never seen Bernie like that. And I was like, okay, Bernie is tired. He is tired of the bullshit. And I'm like, oh, I'm there with you, man. Right? Learning to love myself. I saw that and I lit up like a Christmas tree. The dimple came out. I was like, what? We won that? I promise you I played it back a good 5 times. I was like, man, I was trying my damnedest to find the video of what Anderson said to him. Or was he that way the entire interview? I didn't see the entire thing. It made me look for it. I couldn't find it. I was rolling and I was like, everything he was saying was 100% true. He was 100% true. That what was happening, Monica? She said Anderson wanted to play the narrative and Sam watch it. And he was lighting them up. And I loved every second of it. I said, at that interview, I was like, man, I have got to talk to this man. I got solutions that I think that they would be very helpful to them if they really wanted to work stuff out. And yeah, I'm excited. I got to try and reach out to him. I know he's not my senator. I don't care. He's level-headed. He makes sense. He makes sense. He cares about people. And I love the fact that one of the people, I may have been many, but I only seen one because I didn't watch the entire thing. I want to see the entire town hall. 5 on 5. Oh man, I gotta go find it and watch it tonight if I can find the entire one. Cause he was going off and wouldn't look at him. Yo, I was like, I love Bernie for that. But the thing I wanted to see, people asking him questions, and somebody asked him a question actually brought out the truth and said, NAFTA, you were the one who stood up for the worker. And then he's like, yes, it's true. And I was so happy that got out into mainstream. Not a lot of people knew that. We've talked about it, and I'm sure we've known that, but I've exposed that on my different platforms, and many people get in my comments and did not know that Bernie Sanders was the one in NAFTA that was going around telling everybody that you're going to lose your jobs. It was foreseeable. It wasn't hard to recognize. How are you going to send jobs, good paying jobs, middle class, that gave them opportunities to buy homes, because the unions is what created the middle class in this country? How is sending middle class or jobs that create the middle class overseas going to help America? It couldn't. Any person with common sense would have known that. But the billionaires put out all these slogans that get people to remember and forced it among the American people, like they were going to have better jobs on the other side. And they didn't. They just lied. And just to hear Bernie actually explain it in just the one clip that I saw, I was like, oh, now that's what we're talking about. Get the truth out there. People don't know how powerful Bernie was in his past and still is. The heart check every time, Troy. It might be on Bernie's YouTube channel. I'm going to go check it out, Learning to Love Myself. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have to question your judgment if you like Trump, but not Bernie. Any thoughts on Cornel West? Say with. You know what? I don't have any thoughts on him, brother. The thing about, I was listening to him speak a bunch of times. I was listening to him. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but to me, there was, he was asking for things that, again, also very powerful, saying like, for the people and things of that nature. But I don't know. There was something about the brother that I just couldn't put my hand on. something just didn't, I don't know, something about him I just couldn't trust. And I had no reason and no particular thing. It was just the things that he would say sometimes, and trying to look into his past to find some things out. And everybody's got something in their past, I'm sure. But something about him just did not, it didn't rub, it rubbed me the wrong way. Not in a negative, like I don't like him type of way, like I don't trust something he's saying type of way, right? And I do also remember, when Obama was president, I had no problem with him going after him on topics that Obama didn't do well, and of course he had the right to speak out on it. I didn't have a problem with that. But when he said something about, and this is on top of what this time I was trying to listen to him and Tavis Smiley went off on Obama for not inviting them to the White House. I was like, bro, there were many black leaders in the media that went to the White House. I saw Roland Martin there debating other people many a time. I saw a bunch of other people who were actual, reporters and black media there. You guys weren't invited, and that's okay. But you don't make somebody into a bad person because they didn't invite you. There might be something about you that won't even allow you on the property. We don't know your past. And trust me, to get into the White House, they do a lot of research on you. And there's certain things you can't do to get on. I don't know their past, and I don't know why, but I never heard Obama say a cross word about either of those two men. Never. And I was like, for a dude that don't say nothing about y'all say an awful lot about him, and not about politics, just personal shit. And I just like, I don't know about that. But that's my feeling about that dude. It kind of got to me when he did what he did. But I listened to some of his stuff, and I like the brother. When he wasn't running for politics, I would listen to him often. A very knowledgeable, very smart brother. I ain't got nothing against the brother. He was very smart. But when he got into politics, it was just, I don't know. It just seemed like one thing I also had is that a lot of the things he was asking for, I knew that they would never come to fruition. Because he had to have more than just him in office to be able to do it. And that, he was even farther to the left than AOC on some things. And look how they treat her. Now she's gotten some respect, but they still like take positions away from her, not really giving her the leadership roles that she needs to be. And, she's got to go and make her own way. And she's with Bernie because Bernie notices that, she is a powerhouse and people love her outside of her own district. And that's something that can change minds and hearts and votes. So that makes sense. But the party doesn't see that. They see her as a far leftist. And I'm like, just wanting everybody to have health care and things of that nature is far leftist. I mean, then what the hell is just left? I don't get it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's weird for me. What do you think about it, Save Wit? If you didn't already say, I didn't missed it. Yeah, Bernie has not changed at all. His stuff is, Bernie was back in the day with Martin Luther King and all the different things like John Lewis. He has been consistent. Yeah, he's not gonna run. He's not gonna run. He knows his time has passed. He's 84 now, I believe. He wouldn't do it. But I think that he would back somebody like an AOC if he wanted to do it. But even with AOC, people just hate her with fallacies. You know what I'm saying? Things ain't even truthful they hate her for. You know? That she's so liberal. I'm like, dude, Americans we want health care. That's not really that liberal. I think it's like 80% of Americans want good health care. Say what's I agree. I'm not a fan of him for president, but I read his book back in 2000 before he got into politics. Yeah, I like the brother as far as like his life, things that he talked about. I don't know anything about his personal life, but as far as learning about him and and the way he speaks about a lot of things in life and justice and wise brother. When he got into politics, he just started changing a lot of not necessarily his issues, but just his attitude toward things, which kind of threw me. Hey Luigi, what's up? Um, Shapiro, yeah, Cory Booker, everybody's thinking about now. Gavin is too corporate. Lily White, who said that? Lily White. Um, you know what I think about Gavin Newsom? Uh, I like Gavin Newsom, and the thing that I think that I think he's trying to set himself up for the presidency, um, or running for president. And the reason why I think he's doing it is because of his podcast and what he's doing. He's bringing on a lot of these conservatives, that, of course, we hate. I'm saying we hate them with a passion, because like a Charlie Kirk, what really does he have to offer anybody? I mean, it's racist crap. You know what I'm saying? But he's bringing these people on. Steve Bannon, come on, ain't nothing good about the dude. I mean, I guarantee you, his mom was like, I wish I had stuck a hanger up something and was chill with it, but I decided to have him anyway. I can tell you that there's really nothing good coming out of those men. It's just that they have a core group of the white culture that feels like they were left out, not because of economics, but because of just being white people. And feeling like they've been left out because of that. He's got those core group of people. And what Gavin Newsom is trying to do, I see, is he's trying to capitulate to them, but still hold his views to some degree as a Democrat, and see where he can find some commonalities. Whereas he's gambling, I believe, on the fact that by the time Trump is done, if it ain't already, we already are tired of it. The rest of the world will probably be tired of division. So sick of just always having to deal with issue after issue, that he's betting on the world will want somebody who can tame both beasts. Those wanting, things for everybody, fairness, good paying jobs, being able to buy a home and the price is not just ridiculous, and then the white fear, the hatred of others, whether it be gay or trans in sports or whatever it may be, the browning of America, how he can tame them while keeping us. I think he's betting on that is the way that he can possibly win, is that when he's giving these debates to run for presidency, he'll be empowered by both sides of the spectrum. Not all of us, but a core group of us who would just be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and find somebody who could talk to both and get some things done. Not everything, but some things. I think he's betting on that. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but that's what I see, that he's betting on that. For me personally, that's not going to be the case. But I think that's right now what he's doing. Yeah, he's learning to love myself. He is. He's pissing off his base. But see, what I think they're doing, and what he's gambling with, and what has happened a lot, is that America is fickle. He'll piss off his base for now. And then after, showing that he's still strong on the issues that we want, and just supposing that with another person who is not another Democrat who's not necessarily with some liberal aspects of being a Democrat or whatever it may be, he's going to try and position himself in the middle, but also a Democrat, and being able to say to the Republicans, I'm going to do something for you too. As opposed to all the other Democrats that are going to be running, for the most part, and this is like the primaries, for the most part, they're going to be talking shit about the Republicans and talking straight about to Americans the facts. And he knows, I think he's gambling this, that majority of these voters that are going to be coming out, this loyal Republican in between purple states and all that, they're going to want somebody in between, and he's going to pitch that. And he's going to get a lot of them. He's going to lose some of us. But if it gets to the point, if it's going to be a Democrat that's running and he wins the primaries and a Republican, you're going to vote for the one that has some ideals for you, even though you can't stand some of his actions. That's what I think he's going to gamble on. And like I said, I don't know if he's wrong, but that's what I think he's going to gamble on. But will it really bring it together, Monica? I don't think so. I don't think so. The way this country, not unless something catastrophic happens under Trump. I mean, we already got some crazy stuff, but if he keeps taking us down, then yeah. Then a Democrat that's going to promise something to the Republicans as opposed to nothing, except for just fighting all the time. Yeah, playing that middle is going to help that person win. See, like Troy just said, you know, Newsom's in there fighting with the other side, learning their game, and coming back and strategizing. A lot of Democrats are going to see it that way. And some of the Republicans that are in the center are going to see it too. The ones that are no longer Trump Republicans or MAGA, they're going to go for it too. Whatever the Republican Party puts up for the next president, whether it be Donald Trump, whether it be J.D. Vance, whether it be whomever, this country's going, and by that time, it's going to be like, woo, we're tired of the damn Trump world. MAGA got one chance and one chance only after this. When Trump is gone, it's a wrap, Jack. The rest of this country is going to be like, no, let him go. No more of him. And they're going to be looking for a different type of Republican. So if Republicans got any kind of like guts, they would start thinking of a new way to arrive at things, a more logical way to arrive at what they want to have. A smarter person that's more strategic and less devilish and less like in the face of everything. If Republicans came at it like Democrats came at it, got in and just did your work and shut the fuck up, they could get a lot done. Even things that we don't want to have done. But they're so in the public eye every day that we're seeing the trash that they're doing and therefore trying to fight it off. And you get a lot of public opinion about it and things get, squashed. They're going to learn, this new group of Republicans, I believe, that's going to be coming in, that being braggadocious and in the news every 5 minutes is not a way to be successful. That's the ego of the person they chose. It's like a catch-22 for them. They got a man that's powerful because he lies a lot and people believes him. But they also got a man that's so weak that if you just say something about him, he basically goes off in a corner and cries and thinks of ways to get you back. Instead of moving on and working on a plan at hand, he's over in the corner crying and thinking of ways to get you back. If they had a strategic fighter, somebody that didn't let that shit and just brushed it off the shoulder, they'd get a lot done. I don't want them to get a lot done, but they would if they had somebody like that. But that's their problem. I don't even know the first Republican smart. Woke. Yeah, not our type of smart. But there are many of them that are Harvard educated and understand government, but refuse to show that intellect around Trump. You can't it's a term that's poignant for the you can't Trump. You go out there and try to Trump him, you get kicked out. So he's gotta have people around him or dumber than him. Anybody smarter than him is gonna reach out and be like, Trump, maybe you should move left. You're going right. Maybe you should go left. Because they see logic. And if they do that, oh, you think you're smarter than me? Okay, to jail with him. You know what I'm saying? Fire him like with the immediacy. Because he's going to try and tell me how to do my job. And he knows more than me, and I'm the genius. It's that self-proclaimed genius thing. Ionia says, Newsom reminds me of a well-dressed gangster. I don't like him. He has that sneaky smile, like he knows that he's getting over. That's true. I can see that too. I think most people, especially why I liked him is because things that he's doing in California, things that he stands for, creating programs and things like that help the people. He's always really focusing on the people. And that to me, again, you're right. He does have that politician shadiness to him. But he also comes with plans and strategies to help the people. When Trump was in there, trying to mess with people and stuff like that, he was out there saying, you know what? We're going to isolate California away from that. When Trump was talking about, you won't be able to go get abortion in certain states and blah, blah, blah. You know what? We'll protect you from that. This man just stood up each time to something he said. We're the biggest economy in the United States. We ain't listening to him. You know what I mean? So I appreciate him doing that and standing up with a huge economy like California. So yeah, but you're right. He does have that look. He does have that look. But I also liked him because, it was a while back ago, during the debates, or running for the presidency this last time, they trotted him out. Oh man, he owned all the Republican anchors and shit like that. Sean Hannity, he waxed the hell out of him with facts. I love him. Him and Buttigieg. Oh my goodness. Buttigieg was on a tear. That man went on every Fox show, man. And they would try and mess with Buttigieg, and Buttigieg just kept like, yeah, that's not gonna work. And then just spit knowledge, and but nah, that ain't real. Nah, those stats aren't right. Nah, here's the facts. I loved it. It was like watching the Super Bowl. Whenever I said, he's on what? He's on a Fox show? I would get to that show quick. Yeah, that was me. He whooped DeSantis. Oh yeah, he killed DeSantis. I loved it. Pete Buttigieg, silent siren, I'm telling you, he was killing them. Whoever the Dems go with next, they need to avoid celebrity endorsements. Voters see right through that crap. Yeah, I don't know about the celebrity endorsement thing being crap. Donald Trump, Republicans, all of it, the Republicans had celebrities too, right? They both use celebrities. But Donald Trump has like Z-rated celebrities. You're talking about celebrities whom everybody looks at and says, he's a celebrity? Since when? You know what I'm saying? Having the people on his side who used to look good, they're not even old, but they look like they just went out and tore their whole face apart and said, we can rebuild them. They just look terrible. Ted Nugent, all these people, these stars that on the Trump side, they look like they've been beaten down by the heaviest drug, alcohol or something in America. And they looking all crazy and worn out and trashy. And you're sitting there wearing, like old clothes and shit, looking like, just trash. But they're stars. They want the stars. Republicans are begging for stars to come. They want to play star music, but none of the celebrities fuck with them. So it ain't got nothing to do with celebrities or non-celebrities. Both of them have celebrities. It's just Republicans can never get any that are popular. They're celebrities. What did they do at the convention? They brought out Hulk Hogan. This broken up fool. This dude has had more operations than the worst like plastic surgeon has ever given Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's nose was nothing compared to this dude having operations of things being broken and his body all messed up, not being able to walk and legs don't work, fingers don't work. This man has put his life and body through so much hell, and he out here tearing his shirt up and shit. They have celebrities. Nobody cares about them is the point. So it ain't got nothing to do with celebrities, Troy, because they do that all the time. It has to deal with popular celebrities. They're jealous that they get the popular celebrities. Trust me, Donald Trump was trying his damnedest to overturn some of these country singers to come be on his side. Yeah. So that's not it. That's a cop-out right there, bro. That's a cop-out. Crockett Republican colleagues are here pushing these false narratives of sanctuary cities harboring criminals. Yet in D.C., we have a 34-count felon being harbored in the White House. Exactly. Thank you for donation, Bible on Fire. Yeah, it's 100%. We got a criminal in the office, and people are talking all this trash. You know what I'm saying? Like about criminals and things about like everybody pretty much knows that if when you come into this country, if you're undocumented, you know that in the documentation for you to be here, you can't commit a crime or be caught for a crime. If you do, you can be kicked out of the country based off of that alone, but you still have due process. So everybody knows that that's the law, right? They should know. So sending people back to their country, no matter how long they've been here, if they're still undocumented and they're under that contract, if they break the law under that contract, that's just the law. Everybody understands the law is the law and have no problem with that. But this is not what's happening. They're just picking up random Americans, people who aren't immigrants. They are actual Americans, have been here legally for years now, and just snatching them up. Now, after you become an American citizen, right, you're no longer under that contract of if you break a law, you go back to your original country. You're an American citizen now. You go to our prison, not another country's prison. That's another thing that Donald Trump and his minions are breaking those laws. But because our Supreme Court is trash and our House and Senate are capitulating, they're allowing him to act like a king or slash dictator without him actually having to be one on paper. Therefore, allowing him to kick people out of the country without due process. If you can break the Constitution without any repercussions, if he wanted to take away guns today, he could. Nobody's going to stop him. You see how it's a slippery slope to start down this path of pushing out people you may find to be less than human or people that you hate? Not you specifically, but I'm just talking about in America, the people who are doing this are hateful toward these people. Because if they put their child in the position of that individual they're sending overseas, would they do that to their own children? They would not. Would they do it to somebody they know and care about that's an immigrant? Would they do it to them? They would not. They're doing it to people whom they have no feelings toward. They're not even justifying what they're doing. They're just doing it. So we got to fix that. As Americans, we have to fix that. And it starts with voting, but it also, before we can vote, it starts with protesting it. Calling up your senators, calling up your representatives, and saying, this is wrong. What are you doing about it? Because if we don't, it just might be you or me who they come after next. Don't get it twisted. They always, Hitler and all the other dictators, they always started with the group that they demonize. These immigrants coming over here, these immigrants. And then once they can get rid of them, these Asian people, why are they here? They brought us COVID. Let's send them back. And on and on and on. Why would they stop? These Italian people, they're always fighting and drinking and this, that, and the third, making up shit. And getting people to say, they ain't fucking with us. I ain't gonna say nothing. That's how you end up being in a dictatorship and a person being able to have you unalived without due process because you just pissed them off. Freedom of speech would be gone. Being able to own a gun would be gone. Where are all these gun owners that were freaking out when a Democrat was in office saying, they're going to take my guns? And here it is, a guy who's acting like a dictator, which allows him to be able to take anything from you if they choose. They're taking people's freedoms and not this is the Fourth Amendment. There's a first and a second you guys always talk about. The third and fourth, well, you get into the fourth one, they number 2 down. They're destroying the Fourth Amendment. So if you're going to tell me you can tear down the actual Constitution with one amendment, who's going to stop you if you get away with that? Why not go to 1? Why not go to 2? You got to pay attention. There's always a plan. Exactly, Rude. They start with the smallest groups and move up. They're going to come after trans people. They're going to come after different races of people. They will come after black people. I don't know when they're going to do it, but they'll do that too. They're going to come after women. Just listen to what they say. The Humanist Report just posted a very valid point in his latest video. I'll look it up. Thank you about that, Five Alarm Fire. The Humanist Report. Love getting notes. What else we got? Got a few more before I go. Luigi, the young women of the party have real fire. I just think older America, white males wouldn't let that happen, I think you're saying. I agree with you, Luigi. When Joe Biden, I tell people the truth, how I reacted. What's up, Demetrius? Wake up, America. How I reacted when they first chose Kamala Harris. I didn't like it at first because I'm a black man in this country, and I recognize what they did to President Obama. President Obama never talked about race. I mean, if it was something that came to the White House, like Black History or something like that, he'd talk about that and bring people in. If it was about like Maya Angelou or something like that, getting an award for being a poet. If it was about bringing black artists from back in the day, whether it be Jodeci or whomever, to come and perform at the White House, or jazz musician or whatever, that type of stuff, because that's who they are ethnically. They love these black artists, or Aretha Franklin or whomever. But they also brought, Bono and many others. So they were very fair-handed when it came to race. They never mentioned anything negative about white, black, Latin, and Asian. They talked about health. Hell, Obama's mom was a white woman, and his mother died because she didn't have the right health care and things of that nature. And he was fighting for his white mom when he was talking about doing this. So how far away can you be from talking about race when the healthcare system was really built because of the pain he went through from losing his white mother? So how do you tell me that he is some kind of racist or care about racism? He doesn't. This country flipped out his fucking mind on the Republican side and further down the line of Democrats as well and independents, when they realized a black man was in office and was empowered, and these racist white people did everything they could to demonize said black man for everything he did wrong. And if he did something wrong, it wasn't because he was a black man, it's because he made a decision that was particularly wrong. But they would take it and say, basically, he's not qualified because he made a mistake. Never mind the fact that he got us out of a white man's fuck up, meaning like, George Bush got us out of that. As a black man, did he claim to be a black man doing that? He claimed to be an American doing that. It was this country that failed Obama. This country became highly racist. He didn't bring out any racism. White people were bringing out effigies of hanging him and putting a face on a monkey and saying it's him. You didn't see Obama walking around saying derogatory things about white people, racist things about white people, did you? So how can Obama be the most divisive president, which these certain white people and people in office were saying, when he never did anything against white people? It was just their hatred. Donald Trump saying he wasn't an American, pushing that birth certificate, a birthergate, a birtherism, and so many white people, even some Democrats, jumping on that train. That was just pure hatred and racism. Why would you say that about him? Oh, Reverend Wright. I have went to plenty of churches in my life. I had a white pastor that I liked. Went to not seminary, but retreats with. It was just 2 black people in the entire church, living in the suburbs. This white pastor, just out of nowhere, got on the stage and started spewing all kinds of negative shit about liberal people. This was before Donald Trump. This is when Obama was president, saying some of the most egregious things about liberals and Democrats, as if I wasn't one of them. Did not care. I was like, wow, you can do that in church? Then I found out his racist issues. But if you had came and heard him speak that day, which I addressed him after the fact, because you know I do what I do. But if you had heard him speak that day and somebody came and saw me sitting there, or not even sitting there, saying that's Mr. Straightfax Church, then you could say Mr. Straightfax and Reverend, John, he believes in what Reverend John said. I'm like, no, Reverend John went left on that one. Just like Reverend Wright, Obama and his wife wasn't in the church when he said certain things. So how you hold him responsible for his pastor? And they still talk about that. I heard Sean Hannity asked a question to Stephen A. Smith, and he literally brought up, Reverend Wright? And I'm like, are you serious? So yeah, these people were hateful toward Obama, racist toward Obama. He never said anything negative about anybody's race. And how can you be divisive if you never said anything divisive? Hell, he left office and there were many black people saying he didn't do anything for black people, or he didn't do enough for black people. And he left with white people saying he did too much. He's racist because he helped black people. And I'm like, how can both be the same? It can't be. Yeah, it went away. I can't remember how that went away. I didn't see him with David Duke. I want to say that was Trump's first in office. When he came into office, he killed it. He nixed it. It was something that was already in play when Obama was president, but it hadn't been done yet. I want to say that's what it was, but I could be wrong. My dad was a preacher that didn't like me at all. Was a woke Mike. Dad didn't like you. At the chow halls after Obama got elected, when Bush was in office, politic talk in uniform was automatic paperwork. Yeah, it was insane. They had a problem with Obama. Yeah, Troy Scott. He did want to put Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill. I think she was going to be on the back of it, though, not on the front. It was like going to be two-sided. She wasn't going to have her own bill. There was something kind of weird about that, because I remember people not being happy, saying that she deserved her own bill. She shouldn't have been on the back of the bill. But I don't know. I don't know all that. I have to go look it back up. It's been a minute. Republicans call Air Force One Afro One when Obama was POTUS. Now refer to it as Con Air. I love it. I love it. Yeah, it was just so racist. And I was like, dude, if you really think like we would, then they tried to build it like Republicans, these same sycophants who were talking all this shit about Obama. Once he was out of the presidency, they were like, "Well, you guys had a president. It's not that racist." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You're calling him the most divisive president, and it's you guys who was dividing the country based on the fact that he was black. That was your card to try and get people to vote for you, was to say he's not even an American citizen. He's Muslim. He was born in Africa. He doesn't have a birth certificate." And then when that became an absolute lie to everybody after Donald Trump came out at his Washington D.C. hotel, and finally admitted it on the stage really quick. Yeah, I guess he is an American citizen. Boom. And then bounced off the stage. That all happened. And then they kept moving on with it, even though he had said basically, I guess he is, with the birth certificate. They moved on to more racist shit and then say it was divisive. You know what was divisive is that you saw a black person rising, and these particular racists as white people and people of other cultures clung to the white supremacy because they felt inferior because a black person was in a superior position through his job. So they had to bring him down as a black person to be below this white supremacy fantasy. So to even say that Obama was divisive, it's racist to say, because you know damn well he never said anything negative about white people. He's half white. He never did. Please show me where he said anything negative about white people, anything racist about white people. He supported black people because, in all honesty, we all know the black community has been slighted in this country for hundreds of fucking years. And he didn't say anything that was not factual. Everything he said was factual. And to be honest, it was very well said. The thing about Obama that I admired wasn't his political prowess. It wasn't even his intellectual prowess. It was his way of speaking that got me. Not that shit, not that. The idea of being able to say what you wanted to say in a more highbrow way and take the shit and let it hit your chin and keep on winning. That dude showed me a lot with that type of stuff. He literally would take it on the chin and keep it moving. He might stare at you. When they said to him when he was doing the State of the Union, that one white guy that was a Republican, liar. He just looked over him, cut him a look, and black people saw that look. It's like, yeah, meet me outside, fool. Meet me outside. He gave him meet me outside look. Yeah, keep talking that shit. Keep talking it. I'm the most powerful man in the world right now. Do you really? He gave him that look. But he came to that calm and steady. And I was like, now that is a president. Calm and steady. In the midst of hell, in the midst of talking shit, calm and steady. I was like, boy, you got me. You got me. Because I would have took my shoe off and threw it at that bitch. I ain't lying. I would threw it at him. Liar. We did that shit that moms used to do till you take off her shoe and throw it with quick accuracy. We got him right in the nostril. Was an excellent speaker. Yes, he was. It still is. But that's the thing I liked about him. He was just so calm and relaxing in what he said. It was almost like, it was like therapeutic just to hear the dude speak about stuff. He just felt at ease. You know what I'm saying? I love that. And there's very few presidents that can do that. Very few people in the world that can do that, to be honest. And I like that about him. To face left with a woman. Oh, thank you, Monica. What's up, Demetrius? He's at 100. It was Drew with Duke. What was this about, Monica? Oh, the whoever said that Air Force One is Con Air. No, that wasn't me. I said it. It was Five Alarm Fire that said that. Your contact info is in this chat. Where's that at? Let me go look. Oh, Troy Scott. No, I don't think he regrets that joke. I think that joke was tight because again, that was at the time, at the moment. That was at the moment. So you can't retro a joke. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's what it was. At that moment, he wasn't a president. I'm going back to I don't see it in here. Yeah, it was Falling on Fire. I don't see it. Scott Baio. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Scott Baio was one of the stars too. I told y'all. I don't know if you know. Uh, I don't see it. Before I go. I'll give y'all um Bible on Fire. I don't see that. Could you put the contact information back in? I went up. I don't see it. I'll give you guys a quick story about Scott Baio that I met many years ago. So, and this is why I know Scott Baio is like supremely racist. And know it 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So this happened around 2000. I would say it had to be 2012, 13, somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit earlier. I know it had to be like 2011, 12, or 13, somewhere around there. And I had recently been divorced. And so I was working on, like, someone reached out to me and asked me that I want to come donate to some kind of campaign, Democratic campaign. And I had a business downtown LA. And they wanted me to come support their project. I was like, all right, cool. So I go there, I support it. It was like $250 to get in. And I get in, and the young lady was like, she was close to my age. She was like, I was like 30 something. No, I was almost 40. She was like 37 or something like that. So, so she reached out to me, was there. We had drinks. It was cool. Shit like that. She said, you know what? Let's go out for dinner sometime. And we went out to dinner, and she brought her brother. So it wasn't like no date. She brought her brother, who was a chef. So we was all sitting there chilling and talking, having a good time. It's kind of like a business meeting. And we all decided to work on this one type of business. And so I invited her out to, it was called the SS, I think, Abraham Lincoln. It was out here in Long Beach, I believe. Somewhere around there. It wasn't Long Beach. It was some beach. And it was and it was an aircraft carrier. Never seen it before. I had gotten the free tickets from a business person that I was in business with, and they said, yo, I can't go here, you can go. So I invited her. So we go, we're having a good time, we're waiting in line. This thing was only going to be in LA for like a few days or something like that. So we got these tickets and we sitting there chilling. I'm still looking for it. Bible on Fire. So we're just sitting there chilling, right? And while we're sitting there chilling, this black car, not a Lamborghini, not a limo, but it was like one of those black, I guess Crown Victorias or whatever the heck it was, the ones that are, they're like limo-ish, tinted windows. It pulls up, and we're all in line, me and her in line, sitting there chatting and joking around. It pulls up, Scott Baio jumps out with his wife at the time. And then it was another guy whom I didn't know, which I found out later was his agent and his agent's wife. So they jumped out on their side or whatever, the vehicle, whatever. So they come around and they're they're at the back of the line, and they're just talking back and forth to each other. Like, there's a long line to get into this aircraft carrier. So they're looking around the aircraft carrier and see that, there's a distance before we get to the front of the line. And so they came in, and it was me, and the girl I was with was black as well. And it was not any black people at all there. Within the whole thing, I think we maybe had 4 black people, right? So in this line, I don't know what was on the boat, but in this line, there's a long, long line. So Scott Baio walks over to the line and asks, "Is this the line for the SS Abraham Lincoln?" And we said, yeah, definitely. That's what it is. And he said, "Is there a shorter line?" I said, "No, this is the only line they had." He said, "All right, cool." He said, "Excuse me for a minute." And he stepped right in front of me and the girl I was with. And then told his partners, the lady is, well, it turned out his agent later, the lady and her husband, "Oh, come on, get in front of us and get in front of them." And I was like, I said, "We're in line for it too." He said, I know, but I'm VIP. I'm VIP. And I'm like, if you're VIP, just go to a VIP line, bro. I mean, what do you mean you're VIP just to get in front of me? You're VIP? Then get in front of them because they're not VIP. And then he didn't get in front of the white people. He got in front of me and this girl that I was with. So she was like, "Don't worry about it. Don't fight. Just chill out. No big deal." And I said, yeah, "It's crazy how you really like enjoyed somebody as an actor watching, shows." And I love old shows. And I'm like, myself, Happy Days and Joni loves Chachi and all that. I'm sitting here and I'm not a big gigantic fan, but I'm like, that's cool. But before I found out how racist he was. And then I'm like, wow, that's kind of trip. So he got in front of us. I didn't fight, which I was about to, but she told me not to. So I stopped. And I just waited in line. And when I got up to the front, I asked the lady at the counter, when I gave her my tickets, I said, is there a VIP here? And she said, "No, we don't have VIP. It's general admission." I said, "Oh," I said, "because that dude cut me and said that he was VIP." She said, No, there's no VIP. She said, "Don't worry about it. You just go on in." I said, "All right, cool." So I get in. All the while, they're talking in front of us about, they were geeking out about this ship. Mind you, again, I got these tickets, so I didn't purchase them, so I wasn't geeking out about the ship, but I was like, this is cool. Getting into an aircraft carrier, you're going to see, like, Tom Cruise and I was like that. You're going to see these planes are hitched up. If they're on the plane, they're going to be hitched up to the top board, and maybe they'll let us get on the very, very top. I don't know how it's going to work. So I'm kind of geeked out by listening to them. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool, like Top Gun. So we get in, and there's tables and things all over the place, but to get a tour, somebody has to take you on a tour. All Navy people on the ship. So and while they were talking, they was like, "I want to see the captain, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and we got to see the captain, take pictures with him." And they was just amped to see the captain. Said, all right, cool. So we get on the ship. The food's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can grab the food and sit at the table. But while we were waiting, this lady walks up to me. This white lady walks up to me, and she's like, "You guys having a good time?" And I was like, yeah, we having a good time. Thanks, I appreciate it. I said, I got tickets and everything like that from a friend. I never been on the ship before. And I was like, I'm originally, from Indiana. You know what I'm saying? I've been out in California for a while, but, I know my brother would love to, he was in the Navy, and, I know he would love to probably be on this. Maybe he's already been on one. I don't know. We had these conversations. She was hella nice. And she was sitting there like, "Oh, wow, so you got to go up to the top floor." See, that's just, we don't have a VIP or nothing, but, we'll let people that we kind of like enjoy, that are good people, you can go with us to the top later. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it." And we went and got our food. And then when we was going to get our food, she said, "You can go over there and sit next to us. There's 2 seats that are sitting next to us. I'll tell them to save those seats for you." I was like, "All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it." And I was like talking to the girl, I'm like, "Man, that is cool." So we got on, and these people, I said, we got treated crazy by these white people. And this white lady is just super nice, and she's from Indiana too. I was like, that is dope. So we get our food, and then we go over to the table, and she said, "I want you to meet my husband." And she told her, "Here's her husband." I'm like, "Thank you, sir. I appreciate it." And I'm sitting at the table. He was sitting at the beginning, head of the table. It's a long, long table. So it's me right next to the lady that introduced us and everything like that. And the girl that I'm with sitting next to me. And next to her is the guy at the head of the table. And then there was a bunch of other people on the other side of the table that was like military and things of that nature and suits and stuff. And then there was other military people standing around us. So I'm like, man, I said, they got a lot of military people around us. I'm like, there's a lot of military everywhere else. And then we saw Scott Baio and his little racist troop walking by, and he looks at me again, looks at me, and then stares at me like, what are you doing over here type of thing. I'm like, I don't know what's up with this dude, but he might get punched in the throat tonight. I don't know what's his problem. And then the lady, she said, oh yeah, that's the guy from Happy Days, right? Or something like that. I said, yeah, that's the dude who played him. And she was like, yeah, he wanted to take pictures. I heard he wanted to take pictures with us and stuff like that. I'm like, take pictures with you? I'm like, who are you again? I was like, what are you taking pictures with you for? And she said, oh, this is our ship. I was like, what do you mean it's your ship? And so she said, no, I forgot what they call him, captain, admiral, whatever the heck it is. And I was like, so in my head, and I said to her, I was like, so this is the person that Scott Baio wants to sit next to, that he's so geeked about. Here I am sitting next to the lady, his wife, who introduced me to him, and me and him had this long conversation. And this is how God works. That woman went to Ball State University. Her husband went to Ball State University. I went to Ball State University. And we were just sitting there. I'd rather ball you than IU. Because Ball State and IU. We were just having a good old time by the time this fool had walked by. He came over looking like, why are you supposed to be here? He literally told me and my girl and the people who were sitting across from us to get up. It is their seats. I looked over to her and I said, he did this to me in line and said there was VIP here. She said, there's no VIP. She said, don't worry, you don't move. This is ours, you don't move. And I didn't have to move. He looked at us like why we didn't move, like I was supposed to just shake or some shit. And I said, you can sit over there. But the admiral, captain's wife, I'm sitting next to her. And that fool was pissed, yo. You could tell he had hate in his heart for me. And I had nothing but like, thank you, God. God to do it every time. I said, God to do it. Like, again, I believe in a higher power. I ain't say in the church, but I believe in a higher power. And at that time, I was more of a Christian. But I was like, God to do it. Because I didn't think nothing of it. But after that dude did what he did, God placed me in a place of where he wanted to be and couldn't get. I had that seat all night. This fool wanted to sit next to the admiral, captain, or head dude. Not only did I sit next to him, they gave me their card and told me to come visit them in the area in which they lived. Right? They lived in like a really rich area in Northern California. And it's like, yeah, come on out. We have a barbecue. Da, 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 da. And not only that, when I left my seat, she had his assistant come over and sit in our seats. We go get something to drink. He sat right there. He gave me his card. It was Paul or something like that. It was the best night and the worst, one of the worst nights at the same time. But luckily the worst came first and the best came last. That right there is how I knew Scott Baio was a racist bastard. That's how I knew. He literally tried to pull race on me, that he deserved to be somewhere that I didn't. More than once, he tried to do it to me again. And that time, I was placed in a position where the people who were the power group there looked at him like, ain't gonna happen. The head dude said to Scott Baio, he kind of like did this to him. You want to take pictures? Now this is the time you can take it. Scott Baio was eating. He's like, oh, and he got up all super like geeky to go take a picture. My man took a couple pictures with him. That's enough, and sat back down. And then he looked over at me and the girl and said, you guys want to go take pictures? I said, yeah, sure. He said, well, you finish eating, and then we'll go over here, and then I'm going to take you up to the top deck. And I was like, oh, wow. And then he said, that's for the VIPs. I was like, oh, God is good. God is good all the time. Right in front of Scott Baio. You gonna take us on the VIP. And what does Scott Baio do? Oh, we go on a VIP trip? Where's VIP at? And he's like, there's no VIP for everybody. It's just we take certain people that we go with. You know, we can't take everybody up there. It's hundreds of people. We ain't gonna take them up there. So we went on this elevator. It's huge, like I don't know, some kind of construct. It was huge. It was just made like a metal. So it took us all the way up to the top. And what's so funny, he brought other people. He just didn't bring Scott Baio and his group. There was a bunch of other people that came with us. I would say about a good 8 to 10 more people, but they knew them. And we all went up to the top, had like champagne and stuff like that. They had a whole other type of food thing up there. And then not only that, him and his wife took me and the girl on a trip, like showed us around the spot, went up. They had like 2 or 3 jets up there. So they went over and showed us the jets and like up under them and different things. They gave us a bunch of education about it. I don't remember it. I was just geeked out the fact that we got like VIP treatment after being treated disrespectfully by that racist. That's my Scott Baio story. That he got treated like a simp and I got treated like a king. Love it. But I tell you, it's the truth. Scott Baio, the actor. Yep. Thank you, KB. Yeah, they treated me like a king. I ain't gonna lie. I was happy. Me and her on the way back to taking her back to her crib. On the way back, we were just laughing our asses off. We had such a good time. And she was right. She was right because she said that you was about to fight him and look what happened to us. And I said, yeah, you're right. If I had fought him, they would have kicked us out. We wouldn't have got treated that way. So I just chilled. And if it hadn't have been for her, we would have been kicked out instead of treated like kings and queens. I mean, they treated her, and we weren't together. We were just, I said, there's a friend of mine, we're not dating. Is this okay? You guys make a great couple. And they were just super, super nice. Super nice. I act like he's a big star and better than everyone. Love Instant Karma. Right, Lynn? I loved it. That's my story about him. So I tell people about it. Whenever they mention that racist, I'll tell them the story about him. Because maybe to get back to him one day. Maybe to get back to him one day. Just people for no reason doing stupid things. He had no reason to do what he did. He just did it because he's an ass. And I can only imagine how many people he's done that to. Because he did it with comfortability. Like, this is a thing to do. But anyway, that was my story I wanted to share with you guys. Did I get the information again? Bible on Fire? I didn't see it. I did not see it. I've been looking for it. You got my information, right? You got my email. Let me put it back in there again. Because I did not see it in the comments. But I'll go back and look at it once the show is over. We were straight facts, no change. Yeah, that's it. So that's where everybody can reach me if you have something to say to your boy. He cutting in line somewhere, man. Especially with people of color. He wasn't doing it to the white people, though. Oh, you're welcome, man. Appreciate that. Real time karma, Rude. It's ridiculous. Thank you, Fulton. I'm glad I came out on top too, because again, y'all know, if you've been through something like that before, somebody treated you disrespectfully for no reason, and not all the time you're able to get that person back, not unless you like fight them. But karma, when it does come around, man, it is a bitch. But I gave you that. If you got that email, hit me up because I'm gonna go look at the content and see if we were Bible on Fire. If you gave it in this, I should be able to see it in the comment section. Once I'm done, I'll just look through it and find it. If not, hit me up in the email. I think you've already hit me up once before. I'll go back and look at that as well. All right. Like a chance to confront him, Lynn. You wouldn't want to be. Again, I tell these things. You don't want to be in that essence of that disrespect. You don't deserve it. You're a queen. You don't deserve to be treated like that. King, you don't need to be deserved to be treated like that. And we don't need to, match that type of energy. They're just going to love on each other, be positive, and laugh at those who treat others disrespectfully. Just, I'll do some work when I'm in front of them, but I'm not seeking them out. So, but anyway, I'll see you guys again. As always, stay brilliant. We're about to end the show, but I love coming on and educating and being educated, and we're going to keep on doing some things. I'm going to try and get in touch with Bernie Sanders, because I really do have some ideas for him that help people. Have some ideas on how factories can come back, not the old school factories, but other ways that benefit the worker and not necessarily the billionaire, that I think he would find interesting. I don't know what he would want to do with it, but I think he would find it interesting that we can leave out the billionaires and still bring back industry. I think he might like it, but we'll see. All right. You're not. None of us deserve that. You're right. None of us deserve it. Yeah, no doubt, man. You're welcome, Troy. He said, I'm flawless, baby. Rude. I got a few things I want to say to Scott Bale. I know, Woke Mike. I can only imagine. You gained a point. No doubt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a wonderful night. Be safe. Until tomorrow, we're going to come back with some more straight facts. If you have any that you want me to talk about, you can email me. You've seen the email in here. You can always hit me up. Don't get it twisted. I can't cover them all, but if I find something that's going to give me some interest and tweak my mind and dig a little deeper, I'll dig a little deeper and cover that topic, because we all want the facts, right? People to the machines and give them a bed. Yeah, Rude, it's crazy, isn't it? I'm like, man, Mexico, China, well, no way. Good night, Nina. You guys take care. Be safe. Much love. And as always, I'll see you when I see you.